In this presentation, we will enter a trial balance into an existing Excel worksheet. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. Here we are in QuickBooks where we have a trial balance for the year 2020. This we're going to say is our second year of operation. So a year has passed, we've got this information, we have the trial balance. Our question now is, what's the best thing to do to set up our tax worksheet? In year 2, that question means, should we export this to Excel and start a new worksheet and go from there? Or should we take last year's worksheet, modify it, and enter this data into it? Either way could have its pros and cons. If we export this, we're going to have to reformat the worksheet. We will be able to add the accounts. Any new accounts that have been added will be added automatically if we do that. If, on the other hand, we want to keep the formatting of the old worksheet, then we just got to do some data input and just put in the new numbers to this worksheet. That's what we're going to do here. So we'll open up our prior Excel worksheet, which looks like this. We're going to say this is from the prior year, and we have our prior year numbers within it, and we're just going to change it now. We're just going to adjust it for the new numbers. And the benefit is that we'll have all these kind of accounts. We might even want to keep the name of the journal entries just to remind ourselves to go through these and just check them, and maybe just delete the amounts. Right now we'll delete all the amounts for it and say, okay, I'm going to take those out. Or we might want to delete the whole thing. We'll delete that. And then we can come over here. Now we probably have to delete these and just go ahead and repost them as well. So the adjustments, we're going to have to delete the adjustments because we might have to add new accounts. So I'm going to delete the adjustments, all the blue items, delete the adjustments over here. And there's that. We don't need to make this one, doesn't need to be yellow anymore. So I'm going to unyellow. I'm going to hold down Control and unyellow that. Unyellow it. And there we have that. Now we just need to change the date to 2020. We'll change it to 2020. And that should change all the way across. And now we just need to delete these numbers in the unadjusted, and that'll delete all the rest of them because they're all based on this number. So I'm going to delete these, and this is what we need to enter. Then all we need to enter, we'll delete all that, are the beginning balances. So that now all we have to do is enter this, and we have the formatting all set up for us in the second year. So now I'm going to pull this over so we can see our data side by side. So I'll pull this over here, and so here's our data. Here's our trial balance that we need to enter into our new system. Now there's a couple ways we could do this. All we need to do is enter the numbers now from QuickBooks. This is QuickBooks over here. I've minimized this column. This trial balance into our system. We can't do it perfectly because there's going to be some new accounts that have been added. So we'll have to go through and account for any new accounts that are there. The easiest thing to do is just to enter all the numbers first, usually, and then go back in and try to line up the accounts for the accounts that are missing. If we're using Excel, we could try to export this information so that we could just copy and paste the numbers in. That's what I'll do here. Now, if you do not have Excel and you just have a worksheet next to you, then of course you'll just enter these manually and you'll make sure that the debits equal the credits and it should line up. So you're just going to have to add any new accounts in a similar fashion as we'll do here. Either way, I'll start off by just entering the whole column of numbers first. So I'm going to pull this back over so we can see the whole thing. And then I'm going to scroll down, and I note that if I add the column, I want to make sure I have enough room to add any new numbers, because if they have new accounts, I'm going to need more room down here. So I'm going to select these cells down. Let's give it like, I don't know how many rows that is. That's a lot of rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if they had 10 new accounts, we'd be good. Right click, and we're going to insert and shift down, shift cells down. So now we're going to add the numbers into this column, not worrying about the new accounts first putting in the numbers, and then we'll shift it. The easiest way to do it is if you have QuickBooks in front of you, then we can export these numbers and just say, all right, I'm going to put it into a new Excel worksheet. So we'll go Excel, create a new worksheet. And then we're going to put it into a new workbook. We don't want it in the one we have. We could, but I'm going to put it into another workbook. Here is our information. I'll make it a little bit larger so we can see it a little bit easier. I'm going to unsplit the screens. Let's make it a little bit larger. How about that? And then we'll unsplit the screens in the View tab and Windows group and remove the split. I'm just going to format the entire worksheet now by right-clicking on it. And I'm going to hit that little triangle, then right-click on the selected area, Format, and we're going to make it currency, negatives with brackets, and let's remove the decimals. And OK. So now we just need to make the credits negative. So I'm just going to double click on all the credits, and we'll make all the credits negative. And you might want to look and see if there's a function to make this easier. It's not too difficult to go through and do this by hand, but if there is an Excel function where you can just take this whole thing and flip the sign, we could just take all of it times -1 and it would flip the sign. For example, this might be better actually. If I undo all that and you want to do that a bit faster, you might be able to just go here and say negative of that number, and that might be a little faster. And then you could copy that down, and then you want to take negative of that number and copy this down, and that's all we need. Now if you delete this column, you'll have a problem, right? If I delete this column, that'll go to 0. So in order to fix that problem, you can highlight the whole thing. Not that we need to delete the column in this example, but we can right-click and copy, and then just paste it, right-click 1, 2, 3, the values only. So now if I delete this column, it should have moved over, and we're good. So now we can see we're in balance here. These are the numbers. So I'm just going to take those numbers now. I'm just going to highlight those numbers, and right-click and copy them. And then we'll put them into our current worksheet. Now again, they're not going to line up exactly because there's new accounts. That's okay. We're going to put them here, right-click and paste. Now, do I want to paste this way? There's a couple different formats we can paste. Paste a link, paste to match the destination. That looks like the best. So I was going to do paste just to text, but paste to destination. Let's use that one. There we have it. So we're keeping the formatting of the destination formatting is what that's basically saying. And that's what we have. So that's good. Now if we scroll down to the bottom, we could say, we're actually short a couple accounts. There's less accounts. So that means that they didn't use some accounts and or maybe added accounts too. So now we got to go through this thing and basically shore it up and say, all right, well, let's line this thing up. So I'm going to bring this side by side with our QuickBooks file and see if we can't line it up in a fairly quick way. So here is our information. So if we scroll up, we're going to say, okay, here's the checking account, checking account. Accounts receivable is the 10-4-25, 10-4-25. Here's the inventory, here's the inventory. Here's the prepaid insurance, and over here we've got the prepaid insurance, and then there's this new account. So notice if I go down, I see this new account here under inventory. So I need to add that to this side. So that's what we'll do. We'll add it. Now when you add it, remember you can't just add it to these columns. You got to add it to all the columns across this worksheet. And you can't add it to the right. I can't add an entire row because that's going to mess up my journal entries on the left. So what I want to do is make sure that I add from here over to the end of the worksheet. So I want to add to there, and then right click and insert. Now and we're going to shift these down. If you mess that up and you kind of just mess this side up, it's okay. You'll just have to redo these formulas on the side, but you'd rather just not have to redo the formulas. And this is going to be new asset account. So we'll have a new asset account there. And now you need to pull these accounts up. So what you're going to do is right click on this account and delete. Or actually, there's two ways you can do it. You could right click and delete. If you do that, then these cells are going to go up a little bit and you'll have to drag them back down. The other way you could do it is to select all the cells below it, highlight all the cells below it, and then go back up and drag it up or cut and paste it up. So there we have the 4,000 there. So then we've got the prepaid insurance, the shirts, the short-term investments, the undeposited funds, the furniture and equipment, the accounts payable, and then what is this? This accumulated depreciation. So the accumulated depreciation doesn't look like it's in our financial statements or in our account on the other side. So the accumulated depreciation needs to be brought down to accounts payable. So to do that, we need to pull it all down. So I'm going to select all these cells, and I'm going to pull it down. So we'll pull it down like so, and then we'll have that information. Now the accounts payable lines up, and it's actually kind of useful to do this so that we can match up our current accounts that we had last year to the current time period. Because what we're going to want to do is be able to compare the two if there's something wrong, such as retained earnings being different. So now we've got that accounts. Now we've got the Visa card, the payroll, the sales tax, the loan looks good. These, and then the owner's equity account, and then the merchandise sales. Okay. Merchandise sales, and then let's scroll down a bit. So here we have the cost of goods sold, the bank service charges, the charity, the computer, the depreciation. Doesn't look like we have the depreciation recorded here, so that we're going to have to do the same thing on that. That means this 3,000 needs to be in interest expense. So I'm going to highlight these items, just going to pull them down, and that should help us to line us back up. So now we're on insurance expense. We've got then meals and entertainment. So it doesn't like, so we've got the interest expense here, and then the next one is meals and entertainment. So we got to pull these down, highlight these, highlight these, and pull them down. So meals and entertainment's at 11, and then miscellaneous, and then there's a new account there. So now we've got to add this new account again. So to add the new account, it's going to be right after the miscellaneous. We'll select the whole worksheet, not the whole row, but the worksheet, right-click, insert, shift down, and we're going to add a new expense account with a T, and that'll be 3,000. Well, actually, now we need to bring this 3,000 up to it. So we'll select these items, bring the 3,000 up to it, and then, so now we have the new account, and it goes down to telephone, so there's something else missing. So we've got the new account is at 3,000, the office supplies, the payroll, the penalties, the political contribution, and then rent expense isn't there, so we're going to pull this one down. So we'll pull that down, and then telephone and utilities. So that's kind of a quick method that we can use to do this. Look what happened over here. Some of the cells may not have a formula, and so what we want to do, it's best just to copy the entire formula down. I can do this on both sides because there's no numbers in between. We deleted these columns, so I can highlight this whole section and reset up those formulas, highlighting all the way down, and that'll add the formulas back in to where they're necessary. We could see if we're in balance down below here. We should still be in balance. We can then delete these added cells. So I can say, all right, we're good. I didn't need these 10 cells. Highlight these, right click and delete. Shift the cells up. Then we'll just double check our numbers here. That's net income. I'm going to bring it down. One more to start. We'll bring this over to here. Let's make this worksheet the full page. And then this goes down to there. That looks good. Debits and credits. Let's pull this down one more. And then copy this across. So that looks good. So now we have our worksheet that's basically set up. You can go back and add some zeros to these items just to say there's nothing in this account here. And again, that works whether we export it and copy and paste the numbers or not. It's nice to kind of give a check of the same accounts that we had in the prior period, because what we're going to do, one of the first things we're going to do is check basically retained earnings or owner's equity if we need to compare it, if we need a balance sheet of a tax return. And so we want our accounts to match up, using the same chart of accounts, of course, as much as possible so that we can, do the comparison we need to do. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.